Coach, a sweep last week. Let's start with the non-conference game against Dakota Wesleyan. The Tigers were not intimidated in your building early on.
No, they played really well offensively. They shot the ball, incredibly well in that first quarter, and just established a good energy and a good confidence throughout the game. And we really had to battle back. I think we were down 10 in the first quarter, and even were down going into halftime, if I remember right. Our third quarter, though, we played much better. We defended well and offensively really sharp. And it just was a tough game for us to get going for. Not because it was Dakota Wesleyan, but it's a weird, Tuesday night game after we had just gotten back from a really long road trip at Colorado, or Denver, I should say, and then at Oral Roberts. So we had really little time to prepare and just jumped into it. And I think the team, responded when we needed to, but at the same time looked a little sluggish from probably the days before that.
So you come up with a 13-point win, and then you go and you host Western Illinois on Saturday. And this was a game that was being billed as a big offensive battle between two big offensive teams, and you start out a combined 1 for 13 from the floor.
Yeah, neither team shot it really well in that first quarter, and both probably not settled, but took our fair share of threes in the first quarter. I think we were maybe 2 of 10, 2 of 11, something like that. They play a zone, and there's just a lot of open looks from the three-point line. So every shot we took was a good shot in rhythm, but maybe settled a little bit in that first quarter. And I thought as we went forward, we really scored and created a lot of offense around the basket. We ended up with 32 points in the paint. From the three-point line, we only shot 8 of 30, I think, and then that's not great. But inside of it, we were, I think, 22 of 35. So we didn't really settle. I know we took our share of threes because you get a lot of them against that zone, but the majority of our offense, and we scored 84 points, came inside the arc, inside the paint, and the team did a good job of adjusting. And then defensively, we continued to be really solid. They're going to take a lot of threes. You can't prevent them from taking threes, but we contested a lot of them, took a lot of them out of their rhythm, and I thought really did a nice job defensively.
And even though they only shot 23% from three-point and from field goal range, Emily Clemens, as she does, really single-handedly kind of kept them in that game in the first half.
Yeah, she does. She's a high-volume player, takes a lot of attempts. I think she had 15, 16 shots in that game. Just has the ball in her hands a lot and penetrates a lot, tries to create a lot. And she's a hard one just to completely lock down. But where I think we were effective is we didn't let a lot of her penetration turn into easy kickouts for other players. We really didn't help a lot. We really didn't collapse a lot. And normally, she creates so much offense for that team with her assists, but she only had 2 assists in our game. And I think she's averaging close to 8 or 9 on the season. So I thought we did a nice job of making her try to score, make her try and finish around the basket, and not just let her create those easy jumpers for her teammates.
And you mentioned the shooting coming around, Coach. I mean, after missing, 6 of your first 7, 17 of 27 the rest of the game. The rest of the game, he shot 63% over those final 3 quarters. Yeah,
we shot the ball very well. Really pleased with what we did offensively. The second quarter was the big one. I think we only missed a couple of shots in that second quarter. But we found really good looks. We didn't just make it be all about the three-point line. I think after that first quarter, we really settled in and did a nice job. They forced a lot of turnovers too, and that's something to their credit. They're really good at getting you flustered, getting you a little bit out of your comfort zone, just lunging in passing lanes, getting their hands on passes with deflections. But I thought we handled the pressure well and really created a lot of good looks. Tegan Larson did a nice job in the starting lineup. Had some really big offensive rebounds, had 6 of them for us, and created some second-chance points. Sid Tracy played another real good game for us, solid off the bench. Riley was really good for us and effective. Tylee had one of her better games off the bench here since Christmas. So really good performance. Even though Macy stood out with 31, we actually had quite a bit of balance, too.
And that defense, boy, you held them without a field goal with almost final 6 minutes of the first half. And Macy, as you said, 4 steals to go with those 31 points. I mean, her defensive game is about as good as it's been.
Yeah, we outscored them 34-11 in that second quarter. That really broke it out. And then we continued to grow it the rest of the game. But Macy defended well. She played a couple different positions for us. She did a nice job on Clemens. Macy's length, I think, against Clemens at her point guard spot was tough for her. And I think she did a good job there. The team rebounded really well. Western, with as many threes as they take, there's a ton of long rebounds. And they're usually a good offensive rebounding team, but we kept that part of it in check, too. And like I said, just did a nice job with their offense of not giving a lot of just wide open, standstill threes. We usually had people flying at them and made them get a little bit rushed in their shooting.
And then after the game, I know you got word, and I know you didn't know anything about it, but congratulations, the most wins of a Summit League women's coach ever.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I wouldn't have known that, and that's something that we just don't pay a whole lot of attention to it, I guess. But good, interesting stats for people to talk about. It just been a lot of change in our league over the years, whether it be teams or whether it be coaches even, and I'm just lucky to be in one place for a long period of time and with a lot of really good players and good coaches to help make that happen. So good longevity, accomplishment, and something that we'll move past pretty quickly here as we get some big games this week.
Final 2 games of the first half of the conference schedule this week, and you mentioned those big games, and I think everyone's been kind of looking at this game just because it's USD, SDSU, but then you factor in, these are 2 teams that are kind of running away with the league right now, and boy, what a matchup that's going to be Thursday.
They're playing really well. Since Christmas, they've been just lights out. They had some tough losses, I think, in their non-conference schedule, but if you look at them since everybody's come back from Christmas break, they've been just phenomenal. They're shooting the ball really well from the three-point line, and everybody is. It's not just though you have 1 or 2 people that make shots. Their whole team makes shots. Inside the three-point line, they're just as effective. The balance they have offensively is phenomenal. They're really anyone on 3, 4, 5 different people could lead them in scoring without any major adjustments. And then they probably don't get enough credit for the defense. They're really doing a nice job defensively. They force a lot of steals, really, really good in passing lanes and being disruptive. And you look at the games they've played here in our league, they obviously have scored points, but so many points come in transition or easy baskets, and that just generates some confidence and flows into the rest of their offense.
Yeah, and Madison McKeever is just one of these high-energy, high-motor kids, coach, and she's really out there, and she's very disruptive on defense.
Yeah, it is. Just knows how to put the right amount of pressure on you. They'll fall a little bit, too, because of that pressure, and that's something we'll have to take advantage of. But the pressure they put on far outweighs any negatives for them because it does impact the game, I think, greatly, and it does lead to offense. So as good as they've been in the half court with their motion, I think that's what probably most people would look at and see where they're effective. Really disruptive defensively and take you out of what you want, and then they turn some of that into some easy points, which helps them offensively.
Does it make sense that the number 1 assist team in the conference would also have the best shooting percentage as well because they're finding that best quality shot with good passing?
Yeah, they're just really patient. They don't take a lot of bad shots, and because of that, the last pass usually comes from or to an open player who doesn't settle for a halfway contested shot that you just don't make as often. They take really quality shots, and quite honestly, they just have a lot of really good offensive players, a lot of good shooters that if you leave them open, they just don't miss them very often. So they're a tough team to guard, and when you look at the success they've had, I don't think it's really a fluke or someone just kind of catching fire. They're averaging a ton of points here lately, and if you look at where they are defensively, they're really been at a high level there too. So it'll be a big game for both teams, and we'll certainly have to play well to have a chance to be there.
And obviously it's a state U game, but more importantly, it's for sole possession of first place.
Yeah, huge implications, I think. Everyone, I believe, has at least 2 losses outside of USD and SDSU. So it'll be a big one from that perspective. For us, it's a home game, and then we've got Fort Wayne after that on Saturday. And then the second half of the conference season, we're on the road for 5 of our last 7 games. So we need to finish this week, not just USD, but we need to try and finish this week on a high note before we have the uphill climb of those last 5 or 7 on the road.
Let's talk about Saturday, a real treat for the fans. Used to be you'd see the men and the women on the same floor a lot. Now it's very rare these days, and we get a rare doubleheader of the women and the men at Frost Arena on Saturday against Fort Wayne.
Yeah, I know people are talking about it. It's going to be fun. It's just something that we sure enjoy doing, to be honest with you. We'd love to do it even more. The conference kind of controls that schedule, so this is, I believe, the last chance people will have to see us both on the floor at the same time, and I know people will take advantage of it. And Fort Wayne struggled a little bit here recently, but they have some athleticism and some quickness that can cause teams trouble if you're not ready for it. We'll have to handle a little bit of their pressure and the aggressiveness that they play with, hopefully turn some of that into some positive offense and free throws and getting to the line and then do a good job with their penetration because they're very, very quick on the perimeter.
I imagine it's a team like that, Coach. One of the keys is you've got to get out to a good start against them because they're basically they're looking for anything to try to get some momentum right now because things have just not gone their way. And so on the road, you've really got to try to put them away right away.
I think so. Hope so. And we'll see. We've started the games okay, but if you look at our last several games, we have not lit the world on fire in the first quarter or even in the second quarter outside of the Western Illinois game. So we do have to start a little bit better. not play to the level of the game, but try and set a little bit pace and tone ourselves, make some shots early, and kind of get ourselves off to a little bit better start. But I do think the team will be hungry. Home games are just going to be few and far between here as we go forward, and I know both of these will be important. And the team's got some confidence coming off of this past week and in prior, where we've played some good basketball too, and I know they'll want to keep that going.
Is the health of your team where you want it to be right now?
Not really. We're missing a starter. Maya probably, I would think, maybe out this week too. We'll see. Every day could be a little different, but we're kind of moving forward with the idea she will not play this week. Hopefully get her back sooner rather than later. And so I think, we really play well against Western, and people can look at it and say, well, we can just play without Maya, but she does a lot for us, and getting her back will make us a better team, so we want her to get healthy. Outside of Maya, we're in pretty good shape at this point in the season. Always some things, but nothing that's really going to keep anybody out of any of the minutes.